The first ever black president will be followed by a president who's endorsed by the KKK. Bob, where does that leave you?
Could you pick some? I can't imagine anybody more marginal to American elections than the KKK. I mean, every 4 years the KKK comes up because people like Hillary Clinton want to bring the KKK up.
So it doesn't shock you, doesn't horrify you. They're holding a rally in December to celebrate his victory.
Yeah, and so are probably the Knights of Columbus. Now, why don't you talk about the Knights of Columbus? Maybe you don't even know what the Knights of Columbus are.
Another extremist group?
It's the largest Catholic organization of Catholic males in the country. Let me just point out to you, it's inappropriate to talk about the KKK in the same sentence as Donald Trump or any Republican. They're utterly marginal. They wouldn't even exist if it weren't for every 4 years you trot them out.
Chimamanda.
Go ahead. Let me hear what you have to say about that.
You know, I find it really interesting. There seems to be a refusal to accept reality. So she's asked a question about the KKK, and it hasn't been engaged with, and instead we're being told that there's this other group called the Knights of St. Whoever. The point is the KKK exists. The KKK endorsed Donald Trump. The KKK stands for white supremacy, and that has to be acknowledged. That has to be pushed back on.
Is there nothing on the campaign trail that he said about race that hit you?
Yeah.
Did you worry about any of it?
No. In fact, you people keep magnifying it. The left in America and the left in Great Britain keeps magnifying it. But he talked about a lot of other things, and those things should get through.
And that is possible.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
If you have a fifth of Latinos or Hispanics voting for Trump all the same, maybe race wasn't an issue, even to the people he
I find that
talked
argument to be very troubling. The idea somehow that if Hispanic or even any people of color vote for somebody who's racist, it means he's not racist. I mean, every system of oppression has people who are in the group of the oppressed who somehow contribute to that oppression. So it doesn't even, it's not even a valid argument to make that because Hispanics voted for him, therefore. I think what we should do is look at Trump for who Trump has told us and shown us that he is. So let's look at what he said on the campaign trail. That's really what, because the only way we can judge the kind of president he will be is based on the campaign that he ran.
But maybe he didn't believe anything that he said, and maybe that's how you win a
But then that's the
primary.
problem, because on the one hand, we're told that Trump's appeal is that he says what he thinks and he says it like it is and that sort of thing.
Oh, but
and then on the other hand, we're told that somehow he doesn't really mean it. So which is it? There's something very troubling about that.
No, I'd
Most
say something
Republicans,
entirely
even Paul
different.
Ryan, have accepted that Trump has been racist in his language. You don't.
That's not true. He hasn't been racist.
Textbook racism is the phrase he
Let me tell you,
used.
because of the, you're going to say this is
if you're
because
a
of
white man, you don't get to define what racism is.
Oh, I see. I don't
you really
get to
don't.
define it.
So a man who's been racist, you don't
get.
get to sit there and say that he hasn't been racist when objectively he has.
Do you know
and it's not about your opinion. They're objective things. Racism is an objective reality, and Donald Trump has inhabited that reality.
Do you know that the false consciousness, which is the theory you're talking about, is a Marxist concept? In other words, I can't even open my mouth here because I'm a white male.
No, of course you can. I'm just saying to you that Donald Trump has shown us and has said things that are objectively racist.
No, he has not.
It's not about my emotion. But how
what has he said?
If he says to us, for example, that a judge, a United States judge, is unable to judge him fairly because he is Mexican, that is racist.
I'm sorry,
nearly at the end of our
Judge Curiel, and he didn't look any other color than my color.
Well, that's not the point.
Well, it is.
It's about what your candidate said.
I'm going to move this on just for a final thought, which is, will Donald Trump govern in the same way that he campaigned?
No.
And that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a proper thing. He showed you how he's going to govern starting the other night when he was dignified, charming, and very focused.
Chimamanda.
I think it's very sad. I think the standards have been so lowered for Donald Trump that because he manages not to behave like a spoiled child, he needs to be praised. I mean, it seems to, in some ways, this is kind of a crude analogy, but it's kind of like, you know, throwing a little tantrum and letting a little child drive a very sophisticated car. And so to say to us that we have to disregard everything that Donald Trump said and did during his long campaign and judge him just on the one day after he had won the election doesn't make sense.
What did he say that was so racist?
Bob Tyrrell, thank you very much indeed.
We'll talk about this later.
We've run out of time. We'd love to. Thank you.